This is the Ruins of Threnal on hard. Before I start, I just want to mention this is going to be the first place we see Polar Ray. It'll be towards the end of the hard chain. And Polar Ray is a potential one-shotting spell. On Reaper, it does 4 or 500, so it's very important that you mitigate the cold damage, and secondly, it's important that you try to avoid it. So the first thing that you're going to want is some sort of a cold resistance item. So I've got cold resistance 15, and so that should be hopefully enough on hard. Um, we'll talk more about that when we actually get to that quest. So I'm going to repeat this. Now to do this, you don't say repeat the Eastern excavation. If you do this, you might end up having trouble getting your end reward. Say, is there more to do here? And then reset the series. And then close, and then go back and do things the same way you did before. So while I'm heading over here, I'm just going to real quick do my daily dice. Alright, a Potion of Radiant Force Field. That's my second one of these. Suppose I could just go in here and stick that in the bank. Actually, a good place to use that will be those ice flensers on Reaper. I think on hard we'll probably be okay. Barkeep, no banker. Well, hopefully it doesn't get destroyed. Alright, I'll bring out my hireling. You'll notice the hireling has the heal spell now, which is great. The one downside is that he might also run out of spell points more. So we'll see that. Alright, well. And this first chain is a 3-part series. The first part of the series, um, we have to go talk to the guy, and then the quest ends. The second part of the series, we rescue the guy, so we have to be careful not to let him die. And then the third part of the series, we clear the cave of renders.
A thick layer of dust and cobwebs covered the floor and walls of the excavation. It seemed less like a new project than one recently resumed.
Not too bad. Took a little bit of damage there from the oozes, but I think we should be fine. But you can see how quickly the weapon would run out if we didn't switch to our blue shine weapon, which is immune to ooze damage. I'm not sure if we have to clear this cave. I've always just cleared this cave because they have that minimum number of enemies, but I suspect it's not necessary. Pudding, so I'm going to switch to my used weapon.
A few of the Kundar crew are milling about the area. A large pile of rocks seem to block the tunnel at the end of it.
All right, I'm going to quickly get this quest, but I'm going to go ahead and do quick repairs because I do not want to. I took a little bit of damage to the used weapon. You can see my blue shine does good. And as I sometimes do, I forgot to turn my Sacred Defense stance on. It's usually I'm pretty good about remembering in Reaper, and not so good when running easier things.
The air is dusty and smells of blasting powder. A powerful charge was recently detonated in these tunnels. tunnel up ahead, while littered with rubble, appears to be mostly unobstructed.
Avoid this fire pit here until the trap's disabled. All right, this next part is an escort mission, and it's very hard. The
Notice
NPC
footprints leading
is squishy,
towards the
and
door.
he zergs and runs into the mobs. So what I found when soloing is the best way. If you're in a group, you just have one person sort of hang back with him, a little bit behind the group. But what I found is if you say, stay here for now, then all the spawns that are going to come out here already spawn. I've actually had them charge a room. I think that's more on higher difficulties, where if you get a Reaper or Champion, they might have a stronger. But what I always do is clear this area first entirely, and then once the area is clear, then I escort them out. And I think that there are respawns in here, but they happen slow enough that if you do that, you won't experience the respawns. Alright, now we just go back to the NPC and we escort him back here. And of course, if you see any, if you left any eggs, you might see a glass spider or two on your way back. I tried to clear them as I went. Now we do the let's get out of here, and if for some reason you see an enemy, I mean, my understanding is that there are respawns in here, but they're very slow, and so it could either be that if it's taking a while to clear, or it could be that there's maybe a patrolling type enemy that moved a little bit. Then you just talk to him and say before he sees them, because when he sees them he'll attack, and you just want to kill it as quick as possible. Just to then say stay here for now, and then go kill the enemy. But if he sees the enemy, this guy will charge, and he'll get one shot by whatever is there. I'm gonna put my hireling on protect, and then usually he'll stay behind, so that'll give an extra layer of protection. That way he'll be between us. So having to backtrack is slower, obviously, but this is very safe. This is an easy quest to fail if you're fighting enemies and he's with you. So this is the way I like to do it. And if it doesn't end here, then just run behind here. Sometimes he won't quite get to the end.
You hear rushed footsteps echoing up and down the excavation walls. It sounds like creatures from the deeper tunnels have overrun the upper level.
In this quest, you have to kill every single render in this quest, so you have to check. If you miss one, you'll have to come backtrack and recheck everything. Just want to make sure there wasn't one there. This one you have to go at least to here. I usually just go to the very back just to make sure I don't miss one, but I don't think there's usually one back here. But there is that one sort of in the middle of the cave that you have to run and get. He's the one that's most commonly missed. You can see he used a heal there, even though he probably didn't need to. He probably could have used his, cure moderate or something for less spell points. But this, once they get to level 11, they sort of default to it. All right, trap. I don't think there's any back here. I always just go and check because I want to make sure I don't miss any. But I'm not going to bother checking the secret door. But going from memory, I'm pretty sure. Let me get this guy a heal. Going from memory, if you hit this point and you're at 16, you're in good shape. This is an optional. Generally, if something's locked, or it's a secret door that you can't see, generally it's not a required quest objective. There's a chest in here, so I'm going to go ahead and get it. It's a pretty simple fight. The only exception that I know of is there's a level 18 quest that does require you to search for a door. You either need true seeing or you need a good search to be able to see it. It's not an amazing search, but a good search. Huh. Okay, so now we're starting to see items with 3 abilities on them that don't have those special borders. That's typical. We could still have those special borders and have a 4th item on these. So that's one of the cool things now, getting to level 11. It used to be level 10 items you'd see it, but it seems like now it's more of like the level 11 items. All right, then we just look for the available door, open door, or the way forward, which in this case is this door. And each one will have a lever or some ability to get to the next section. And this way is open. All right, so here's our first encounter with a
An
ice
unnaturally
render.
icy draft
So
swirled
I'm
up
gonna
from
get
the
my cold
stairs.
absorption on, get all my buffs. All right, and we took him down quick. He didn't use the polar ray on us. This is a shrine in here. I don't think we need it. But I will just remind myself to give a quick use the Hireling's Divine Vitality. I'm just going to self-buff here as I'm heading towards the next passageway. So we pull the lever, so another passage opened. Generally, whenever you see these sort of like grates there with flames coming out of them, you want to avoid that. So the lever we need here is kind of back here. That's an optional that you could just skip. And then when heading to the last area, again, the magic number is 5. So kind of 16 headed to this end area here, and then 5 headed to the final area.
There is something disturbingly evil about this room. The blood on the floor hints at a
And I always sense a trap here, but never find one. And that Threnal ceremonial blade that I just looted, I'll likely delete. It's used for an encounter in the wilderness that you can run. It might be fun to try it once if you've never done it before. But it's not all that interesting once you've done it once, so I'll probably just delete it. Make sure you don't repeat there. This mystified goblet, as far as I know, is not used in any crafting. Level 11 intelligence 5 goggles. Let's see what we have. Intelligence 4, spot 5. Well, this is a straight up replacement for what we have because the spot 5 is not being used. So I'm going to probably grab those, although we're probably at an odd number. Uh, but anytime we could straight up upgrade our items, and this should be blue. If you repeat the quest, unfortunately, you will not get the end reward. Alright, so that's a straight up improvement, but I'm guessing it's not really because it puts me to an odd number. But I'm going to keep these locked and save them for next time. I think you could actually get Masterful Craftsmanship +6. So that's what we're really going to look for is if we get a +6 goggles at this point. That would get us an improvement to our search and our disable. And this is a 3 chain, and the first basically thing we have to do is find the library. Second thing is escort the guys. And there's unfortunately a chance that that one fails. Soloing, I've had that just randomly where it fails. These guys do not attack this quest, but they will next quest.
House Denarth has evidently unearthed a large section of man-made passages.
Always switch your blue shine against rust monsters. They also will damage your armor.
You hear the loud booming of voices arguing.
We
down
do
the
have a
hall.
backup armor if that happens. In a normal, I believe we didn't find this last time, but now we've made some significant improvements to our spot search disable. So we're seeing all these, spotting all these before we get to them.
The doors on either side of the hallway are spiked shut. Someone wants to keep you out.
All right, this is the one that we could actually fail.
You hear the sound of dirt shifting and
So I'm going to
blowing
go
through the
clear
excavation tunnels.
these guys first before I talk to them. If those guys die, you fail the quest. But you can't just leave them there because, like in the other quest, we can just leave them there and come back and escort them because there are methods that spawn and will kill them. So we'll say, let's get underway. And then you just have to kill them relatively quickly. Kill things. And you could have them stand their ground as you get close to threats. But they're not as squishy as the other guys, and then Coil's a caster, so he at least stays back. But you can see these guys take a lot of damage, and they probably won't make it on Reaper. and Elite. This is a hard one to complete on Reaper actually, but they should be fine for the for now. And if they die, it's no big deal. All right, I'm just gonna tell him to stand his ground for now, and then fight these guys. All right. And I'm going to tell him to stand his ground and then have Arkin protect him real quick and then just clear. Just going to clear the way up ahead. You can see both those guards are dead now, so it's now we'll say let us get underway. And if we have problems with this one on Reaper, we may actually just rerun this one on normal to continue with the chain and skip it for favor cleanup.
Coil shouts, "The library door is locked. You, scout for a way to open it. We'll hold fast here."
At this point, you can't interact with him, so we just have to hope that the end boss doesn't kill him. This seems like it might be bugged, or maybe there's just a delay. Normally, a couple Earth Elementals come over here and break the doors down. That's the only way we have to get in here that I know of. probably need to get him closer to the door or something, and unfortunately we can't interact with him at this point. So it looks like it's bugged, and we're gonna have to restart. Unfortunately, this quest does seem a little buggy. Oh, there we go. Good. So I guess I just need to get right up to that door. So what I did to make them spawn is I just ran basically up to that door and just like ran, you know, as if I was running into the room, and somehow that was enough to get these guys to
The
spawn.
creature at the end of the hall guards its ground warily.
Open that shrine up. We'll probably use that on the way back. I need a rebuff. These guys don't notice me yet. Yep, there's a lever for an optional up those stairs, which you can ignore. And also in this water, there's a second lever that opens that gate over there, which is just an optional. You could skip it. Alright, we'll get these guys. They'll probably come attack us anyways.
Machinery, but the noise abruptly stops. Hoyle shouts.
So there's
It's
one
no
lever
good.
on each
The door is
side.
still locked.
So that's the first. So when he says it's no good, it's not that we did anything wrong. It's just that we have to do one more lever. Well, there's one more shrine. I think I'm gonna skip that and just go to the next, use the next shrine. This one can't be disabled, so you just try to time it. Just notice my goggles need to be on this hot bar here, the new goggles. Alright, and we're not going to be able to get this shrine on the way back because we want to rush back as quick as we can. So I'm going to go ahead and shrine here. And in this series of rooms, we're just pulling levers to open another room. That's not the final lever. There's a series of levers that have to be pulled here, and you just hit Q to make sure you didn't miss any. The other ones are on the other side, as you can see. There's 5 total. There's one in the middle here, kind of on the top, and the other ones are on the bottom in each of these little rooms. Thought I remember a trap here, I guess not. Now, unfortunately, this is the lottery. I think normally it works, but when we pull this lever, the door is going to open. And at this point, we can't interact with Coil. He's supposed to be safe, but I've had it where he dies at this part, and so we need to just get back as quick as we can and hope that doesn't happen.
Shouts, "That's done it. Door's open."
And now we just have to go beat the end boss, and if we get a fail objective, that means that what's not supposed to happen happened, which is that Coil charged a room, died to the boss, and even though once this is met, the devs changed it so the protect mission was over, it could still fail. At least what I found is I think it might be the guards that actually, it only happened one time, and when it happened, the guards were there. So I'm thinking that it might be the guards that make it fail. So I usually park them back further away from the door. But we'll see if it fails here, then we know Coil could also charge the boss. Okay, good. He's still there. And a Reaper, I think the reason it actually, there's Coil. He's starting to go in.
Screams by the sovereign host.
We want to get this guy down quick.
In the library. Get ready to fight.
Alright, success.
This isn't finished.
And we may run this one on Elite rather than Reaper, because if there's a Reaper that spawns in the end, I think that might be what caused us, could also be what caused it to fail, is the Reaper had a longer sense range and sensed coil and went out and attacked him. This used to be a protect mission and was probably the most despised, probably the most despised quest in the game because it's just so easy to fail. But they changed it so that um, you don't have to protect him. If he dies, he just lays down for the rest of the quest. All you have to do is sort of hold this for 15 minutes and then beat the end boss. And of course, Reapers were really made this hard because, as you can see, he just stopped doing his own thing over here. He doesn't follow us necessarily, and so a Reaper or a champion could just come out and one shot him. Don't know if I really want to waste spell points on the explorers. I mean, they're just like another target, so I don't mind. Um, and there's one shrine. It can be challenging to use because of all the mobs incoming. I think we not too long ago we had run this on Reaper, and normally we've not had much of a problem with it, but we failed because there was like 4 Reapers in the opening mob, and so we all died, raised ourselves, and we just never caught up. The mobs just kept on coming super fast, and we ended up failing. Then we reran the same quests. We had 3 Reapers that time. It also was pretty bad, but we didn't die, and you know kept up on the mobs and went okay. And on that one, we even had like another wave of a couple Reapers spawn right after those 3, and we still managed to be okay. So Reaper can make it tough because you just don't know. It's a sort of unknown variable of how many Reapers, how many champions you're going to have, and then what type they are. Oh, Rust Monster. Get my blue shine out. And I'll probably repair after this because I've got, I hit the Rust Monster with this a couple times. My armor's in good shape. So ever since we upgraded our armor, it's been a lot better. Champion almost took him down. The other defender's just like attacking trying to attack an iron golem that's not even activated yet. So we're at about the 1/3 mark, and our hireling is about half his spell points, partly because he's using them up on these NPCs also. And again, they might only need cure, but he's giving him a heal. So he's runs out of spell points quick. So we'll have him shrine at about the, once he gets down below 100, we'll probably have him shrine. May take a few tries for him to actually succeed at that. You can see he's just throwing a heal at him every time. He's already down to 180 hit points. Or spell points. I'm gonna try to stretch him out as long as I can, so I can before I get him to shrine, because we're less than halfway done yet. So on Reaper, obviously he'd run out of spell points, but the thing on Reaper is that these guards are gonna die, so they won't be. They're gonna die quick, so they're not gonna be. He's not gonna be constantly healing them up. Like to get just a little more time out of the hireling, since he's almost out of spell points, but we're not quite to 5 minutes. I was hoping to use him, have him shrine at 5 minutes. reason I put him on passive is, we're gonna have spawns like this, and if I didn't put him on passive, he would just, attack every time something spawned. All right, Colin's down. That's okay. I mean, maybe I don't know if the hireling is gonna continue to. I'll put him on active now. My sword is going crazy. I don't know why my sword is stuck. There we go. But I don't know if he's gonna continue to heal. Colin, hopefully not. So now we're at 4 minutes left, and he's at full, so we're in good shape with the spell points. I think once those defenders went down, that was almost a good thing because he stopped healing them. He didn't, or didn't have to heal them anymore, I should say. Also going to try to keep myself topped off whenever I can so he doesn't use his spell points, and I could always just give myself a divine vitality to keep charged up. You can see how much better. So on Reaper, I think that probably all these guards are going to die, and Colin is probably going to be inactive. So you can see he doesn't have any kind of a point bar here. Uh, in the old way of things, he would have died and it would have failed. Okay, here we go. Now, the quest is not over when he's down. We still have to wait for the clock to run out, and then usually there's mobs that spawn. But we can get our chest. We'll wait for the next spawns to mob, but usually before the timer runs out, there's more mobs. Ooh, reinforced. That's a special protection and fortification. Not too interesting, but, it's one of the new armor prefixes. This is what usually happens. So time runs out. Now we can exit out, but we have to clear this mob first. I'm going to quickly try to recall. And remember, when we talk to him, we want to say, oh, he's given us our end reward. Um, Nothing too interesting here. Grab the false life belt. I don't think this is going to sell in the auction house, but let me just grab it. And then we don't say repeat, we say, is there more to do here? And then that gives us the Zavera. Now I'm going to take a quick pause here. I need to go do repairs, and then I'm going to see if I could upgrade my cold absorb ring on the auction house. And then I'm going to also grab some fire shield scrolls. I want to show you when we get to that ice flenser section what we're going to do on Reaper. Even though I don't think it'll one-shot us on hard, it probably could come close. And so we'll do this prep for this just so you can see how it's going to work for Reaper. So we always want to go into this next chain, and probably the one earlier because we had that ice flenser earlier with our fire shield cold or fire shield scroll. We're not 100% on it, but we can, we could do our human boost and our skill heroism potion and get good enough that we can at least get it cast. All right, so I'm going to pause it and I'll be back shortly. All right, since this video is already an hour, I'm going to go ahead and end this video rather than pause it and start another one. I should have probably broken this up into one video for part one for part two, and one for part three. But this is the part one and two video, and then the next will be part three.